From the Newstalk ZB newsroom, this is Newsfix.
In this update, crews have now controlled the 400-hectare blaze in Otago's Waitaki district as they deal with inaccessible terrain. The fire developed from an out-of-control burn-off yesterday, and Fire and Emergency has brought it under control this afternoon. Touchdown for Boeing's Starliner spacecraft returning to Earth safely without its crew. The empty craft came to a gentle landing in the New Mexico desert just after 4 this afternoon. The astronauts will now return in February, extending their planned 8-day stay on the ISS to 8 months. An urgent appeal to the Health Minister to not proceed with reported clinical service cuts in the new Dunedin Hospital. The Council says no proposal has been put forward for consultation, but clinicians have already voiced concerns. Dr Shane Reti says revelations of Health New Zealand's finances have meant every public dollar available needs to be spent wisely, but the project remains under active consideration. Mayor Jules Raddick says Dr Reti, as a clinician himself, knows what's needed.
My expectation is if there are cuts, they may be to surface treatments, for instance, exterior cladding or interior cladding, looking for cheaper materials, squeezing contractors on pricing.
Wild winds are whipping the South Island and parts of the north today. An active front is moving across New Zealand, bringing heavy rain to Fiordland and heavy snow warnings for the Crown Range and Milford roads. Strong wind watches are also in place for Marlborough, Wellington, Otago and the Canterbury Plains. Met Service meteorologist Kieran Doolan says warnings will remain in place for the rest of the day because of these severe gale-force northwesterlies.
In Chicago, we had a gust of nearly 100 kilometres per hour, and then in Wellington, in Kelvin, we had a recent gust of about 115 kilometres per hour.
An Auckland City Councillor says it is a sad state of affairs after a shooting in Grey Lynn on Thursday night, the 5th homicide in Auckland this month alone. Waitemata Councillor Mike Lee says this type of violence is happening far too often, and it's a concerning situation for the whole country that needs a great deal of national focus. That's news. In sport, Auckland's ended their worst losing start to the NPC since it began in 1976, beating North Harbour 36-32 at Eden Park, thanks to a very late match-winning try to wing Caleb Tangito. Auckland captain Akira Ioane was typically understated afterwards.
Yeah, that was a tough game. Always is against, good Harbour side. They had all the possession in their first half, and, we just hung in there just enough for us to claw back.
Wellington remains unbeaten and tops the men's competition after a 36-12 win over Southland in Porirua. Taylor Fritz will play the world tennis number 1 Jannik Sinner in the US Open men's tennis final. Fritz won his All-American semi-final in a marathon 5-setter, beating Francis Tiafoe. That's sport. I'm Joe Gilfillan.
For more news, listen to Newstalk ZB live on iHeartRadio.